milk guy?
Oat milk, honey, cinnamon, iced latte. I would vote is the best coffee drink in existence.
I like it.
Taste it.
I'm into it.
Taste it. It's so just taste it. It's got honey and cinnamon. It's not laced with steroids. Just give it. Just tell me what you think.
Sugar.
I hate you.
Just tell me what it's. Just tell. Will you not?
Enough caffeine this morning.
It's a sip. It's not a bump of cocaine, man. It's just a taste.
Just a taste.
Just.
We're live, by the
You
way.
do sound like.
We're live, by the way.
Like a pusher, though. Just a taste.
Just hit it once, man.
Yeah, I feel fancy with these papers, Georgie.
They're nice.
Yeah.
We got Georgie a microphone now. We're good.
Yay.
Hopefully you can hear
if every time.
Yeah, let us know if you can't hear, and we probably won't fix it, but we'll try to fix
No,
it.
yeah. If
It'll probably take us 3 more weeks to fix
We
it.
won't look at the comments until we're done, and then we'll know.
I'm gonna pull it up just in case. Who knows?
My hair's wet.
There we go.
I'm here.
We're here.
Good.
We made it.
It's great.
The plan was 10. It's like 10:25,
It's all good.
but it's okay.
Perfect.
JV was the first one here for the first time ever.
Hey, I have turned over a new leaf. I'm attempting to be more refined, like more well put together. I went for about like 10 years of just being like, you know what, I don't care if I look homeless or not. And I'm thinking about changing that a little bit, just a smidge, just like a little bit though.
Maybe clean pants. Start with clean pants.
Well, this will never change, ever. This is my napkin. If your pants aren't your napkin, are you even living? I would never have made it in high society.
Yeah, right.
Sleeve was the napkin.
Ever. Never. My personality is way too anti, not establishment, but
No,
like,
I get that because I couldn't wear dress clothes all day. I don't know how people do it. That have to
Yeah.
do it.
formally. I don't like being formal very much. I like dressing up for a wedding. That makes sense. But like,
like
every
business
day,
clothes
yeah.
every day. No, it's not fun.
Yeah.
I was a bank teller for a year.
Oh,
For
yeah.
real.
Yeah. And you did, like those wore slacks and like button downs. And I'm like, this stinks. Couldn't wait to change every day.
Man, I was at Wells Fargo yesterday. Dude, this lady so somebody pulled up to the drive-thru to make their sort of deposit or withdrawal or whatever. And the lady on the inside had like a little bit of an accent, maybe like an Indian accent or something. But like her English was great. Like you could totally understand her. I heard her repeat the same thing maybe 7 times in a row to the person outside. And I was like, oh my God, I would never.
It's like
want
Sam's
to do
order
this
at
job.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't fun at all.
I just feel like you would leave work every day hating people. Just like, like you just walk in a 7-Eleven, yell at somebody like, give me my Mountain Dew.
People weren't so bad, actually. The management was bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the time I got into it, they wanted you to sell stuff, too. And I'm like, like CDs.
At the bank?
And
Oh.
push people into new credit cards. I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
They want
Yeah.
me cold calling people at the end of the day. I go,
Really?
The day ended at 4 or 5. I'm not staying and calling people and asking if they want to come in and get a new, account going. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just the bank.
Anyways, I
Yeah,
digress.
maybe so. So, where do we want to go today? I know Georgie printed out some information for us about the new changes. CrossFit making some changes again. Hopefully, they're in the right direction.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that to begin with. I think it'll segue pretty well into a couple other things I've been thinking about.
Okay, I know both of you guys have paid attention closely, and I have not. So,
Ben usually doesn't. When come
don't need
quarterfinals,
to.
he's like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
How does this work?
that's right. So show up
Yeah.
and perform, my guy.
yeah, because I've never been. I don't really. It doesn't bother me too much, the whole qualifying thing, as long as there's some sort of fair structure. I think I'm
Right.
okay. Like, it's just compete. I loved the CrossFit from the very beginning that you could just show up and compete, and if you did well, you moved on.
And your era, I would say that this is a different era of attention needing to be put on, sort of the space and what's going on. And I mean, after 2020, Glassman's out. You really need to pay attention to, maybe like, what's going on every weekly or whatever it was. But for like 10 years, it wasn't even. You weren't even thinking about that. You would catch an article or two, and maybe there's more media now, more people talking, more people in the space. YouTube channels, all of the above, and now and you've had so many changes and then fixes to those changes. I guess it's just been working out. It's sort of like they've been verbally processing. Or whatever.
When you remove leadership like that, it's
Yeah.
like what are you gonna? You're gonna get this vacuum of
Yeah.
all of these opinions that people want to insert into what you should be doing,
Right.
and then it's you're kind of leave yourself up for judgment. So
Mm-hmm.
they never had that problem in the beginning. Everybody really just trusted the process and everything,
Right.
and now once they remove that, it's everybody wants to add in their 2 cents.
Right.
And then you can make money on YouTube by getting views, so people are gonna really go after certain things and ideas. So
And then I think they changed things, from stopping regionals to the sanctional year that was so drastically different that, of course, it was like a shock to the system. Everybody's like, whoa, how do I get to the games now? How many competitions can I go to do? And so it was very different. So I think also that was like put a spotlight on it, saying, is this the right way to do it? And then the critics came out, and for the first time, I think they actually listened to people's opinions, though. Like, they gave surveys after the seasons last year. I know Sam probably filled out 5 different
they've done
ones.
that for a few years, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like they actually did listen to that, or at least those in charge, like Adrian now, maybe has some of the same opinions that people voiced. And
It seems like it, right?
Yeah. He agreed with a lot of the criticism or the concept that we should have a standardized programming, standardized tests across that level or that qualifying level to get to the games. So that's back.
I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that that's back. It seems
Yeah.
like they did listen. Hopefully we had.
No, they definitely did. I
Yeah.
mean, it really mattered. The voices that sort of arose really, I think, really changed things. I think that the more and more I pay attention to the amount of people making CrossFit content and contributing to the conversation, the more I realize that something that I don't like about the way that our lives are set up with like our attention like being so easily grabbed by cheap things. I'm also realizing that sort of like cheap just immediately throw some spaghetti against the wall type of content, type of conversation is probably necessary for all spaces, because the cheap content, the spaghetti against the wall, all of that will progress to better and better and better and better content, even up until the point to where we've now seen the games revert back to a standardized test across the board. And that just happened from, throwing things against the wall, complaining. But it's like a little bit of complaining, a little bit of opinion, a little bit of,
You have to have it.
yeah, it has to exist. And originally I think I was in a space personally of like, I wish I could get rid of that. Like, I wish I could get rid of sort of the just nonsensical, conversation. But that's not the right take. It's just refine it. It's just let it, sort of like let it refine itself. Let it get better.
Yeah, I think it's really good to have a good leader takes in the voices of all of the people, right? Like Elon Musk tweeted something the other day. He said something Latin, I think, but it meant the voice of the people is the voice of God. And I thought it was interesting. I didn't think it was completely true, but I thought it was interesting that it's true in that a good leader has to listen to all the people, and they have to take what's good and use it, and and be able to discern what's good and what's right and what's wrong. But a good leader is represented by success with what they do.
And also recognize when they don't know the answer, when they get it wrong. And
Yeah,
not.
but like I think that's what a good leader does, is they like get the idea. They don't have their ideas themselves. Essentially, like you really kind of get the ideas from elsewhere, and you're able to collect them, put them all together, and then move forward in the correct direction.
Right.
So hopefully we're kind of on that path with CrossFit, because there was a period of time where it was just like, okay, what's happening?
Right. I think so. I mean, okay, so we start the same. Open, 3 weeks, 3 workouts. They're not changing that.
Do you hope that it's 3 scores, or do you hope that it's 3 tests with 5 scores, or do you think it matters?
I don't really think it matters because of quarterfinals now, and they're taking again the same number of 10%. The top 10% is a wide. It's a large amount.
I always forget about quarterfinals. I really do.
So if that weren't the case, I would say more. But with that, I don't think it needs to be more than 3 weeks, 3 scores, and move on.
Yeah, it's like the very basic introduction to the season. Doesn't need to be anything fancy either.
Yeah.
Really, because if they're going to take 10%?
10% still,
I mean,
which is a lot. I think it's a lot. I think I think it's twice as many as they need to take to quarterfinals, to be honest, if you're, the point is getting to the fittest.
No, that's a good point.
I like that they put that in there, though, because, I mean, if you're in there and you want to, some people want to do it.
Some people do, yeah.
So,
That's their motivating factor. That's part of why they're signing up for the Open now is I want to get to quarterfinals, and I want to do that, and I want to do those tests. So that's true.
I want to get to quarterfinals, but I don't want to do those tests.
That's the same.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, that's
Actually-
exactly what I did.
Actually, I want to just do quarterfinals. I don't want to do the open test because the open tests they punish me. They are the opposite of the CrossFit that I like.
the open tests are like the requirement that you have to do to go to the
Dude, and it
to the
sucks.
next.
And I'm like anti-requirement type of a person.
Just
you know?
anti everything.
Well,
like, hey,
no,
I'm
it's
good
like,
enough.
hey, you need, it's like when I started working for Young Life, they're like, hey, you need to cut your hair, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Like that, it's just like some like little things like that where it's like, no, like let's go to like the actual thing, but that's such like an arrogant, ignorant, like absurd statement on my part where it's just like just me personally, me.
I mean,
like,
I like pushing
they
back on things
hurts.
just to see what really matters.
They
but
hurt
yeah,
so bad,
Uh-huh.
like, and that's not the way I like to hurt in CrossFit. If that makes
in the
sense.
open.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
open.
me either. I'm with you.
Agree.
I get that
Agree.
completely.
Like,
Are
you
the
know.
quarterfinals 3 weeks too?
No, so the quarterfinals they've condensed
Oh,
it
it's
a
1 week. That's right.
Yeah, it's for individuals the first week that goes, and it's only like 10 days after the Open ends, basically. So March 6th, the Open ends. March 16th, individual quarterfinals weekend begins. And then the very next week, or is it the week after, you have 2 in 1 week. That's the only difference they made. They shifted
Yeah.
the team to midweek, so now they're Wednesday through Friday. And then Friday through Sunday, you have the age groups. So they're kind of trying to condense it down, I feel like.
I think that, and I personally think that's a good idea.
I like it. People complain, though, about, people and lives and jobs and schedules, and now you're putting something in the middle of the week for a lot of these team competitors.
Yeah, it's tough, and I get it, but you're also shooting at the highest goal, so
But logistically
sometimes-
for gyms now, quarterfinals weren't easy to set up last year. They
Mm-mm.
required a lot of space, shuttle
Mhm.
runs,
Mhm.
ropes, having everything in view. That's going to be
it's a fair point.
in the middle of
It's a fair point.
peak class times and schedules and stuff like that. So, gyms have to now accommodate for that.
Yeah.
It's 1 week, though.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
Right.
No, I mean that's what you do. That's you kind of got to do that, and
It's a little bit of a sacrifice, but as
little
long
bit
as
of a
everybody
sacrifice,
understands
yeah.
that what you're doing it for, I think it's
Right.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think about, like, sometimes I think that energy of the sort of qualifier going on in the background of a class workout or the quarterfinals or whatever it is, it kind of brings this extra little, spark
mixed.
sometimes. Sometimes it's a complete distraction, a
Yeah.
complete problem, something you should not be doing. And then sometimes it's like, wow, this is what's really, really special about what we get to partake in.
Yeah.
If there's a designated time for it, I think that's more of the case.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like, oh, I couldn't come in at that time, I'm just
Mhm.
going to try to squeak something in before the 4 o'clock
Yeah.
class. It's like, I don't know if that's probably best because we're pretty busy.
You know what?
And
is
then you're in the
something
way.
We've never talked about before is the, like, the frustration people get with like a sort of like a wanderer in the class or like a obscure, like just somebody doing their own thing, like sort of to the side. And there's a lot of that kind of happens where, like, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's a group or groups of people that are sort of doing their own thing or, whatever it is that aren't in the class, not in the fit class or whatever class. I personally could care less, like could actually care less. Even if you're in my way, I could care less. I'm like, this is just something to not care about. Like there are so many other things to worry about in life. You being an inconvenience to my workout is not a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I get why it is a problem. Do y'all think that needs to be like there's etiquette involved in that?
Well,
Or is
there's
it
kind
just
of like a little unwritten rule. Like I expect people to do the class first.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you've done the class workout, you're okay. Like you can, and you want to do something else for that day. Like let's say you did the class in the morning, you want to do something else in the afternoon. Like I'm fine with that,
That
as
makes a
long
lot of
as you
sense.
work around the class. Like I always tell the coaches, I texted the coaches the other day. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
if people are working out outside of class or doing qualifiers, 'cause that's what everybody's doing now for Wadapalooza
Right.
or whatever it is, they can do those workouts, but it's up to the discretion of the coach. Like if the coach has space and they say that you're out of the way and you're not causing a problem and not turning the music all the way up while the coach is trying to talk, like
Right.
you're good. So it's
Right.
just kind of managing that. But there are a little bit of unwritten rules, and I'll come in and I'll say something if I need to say something, you know.
It's cyclical.
It is. It comes and
Every
it goes.
season.
And
Yeah.
some people have problems with people working out around classes, but as long as I think we can stay out of the way of the class, which has the precedent over everything else, I
Yeah.
think we're okay.
I just remember Dale Hastings. That's my guy. Hey, shout out to Dale. He's never watched any of this. Being like furious one day, like 2-3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I just want to be like, Dale, I know this is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like,
People
like
do
at
get
all.
really amped
Like-
up about it, but I think it comes from a place of I'm doing class. Like, why are they special? You know, like I think some people see it that way, is that there's a special population of
Yeah, that
people
they-
that are exempt from the
right.
rules, and that's when it becomes a problem because they're trying to follow the rules, or I'm in this class, I'm paying for this membership, I'm equally as valuable
Yeah.
here, and now I don't have a spot on the rig or someone, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I get it,
Yeah.
because I
Sorry.
coach a lot of that time of
Right.
the day.
Hmm. Which I try to, like, if you're working out around the class, like, you have to be very self-aware.
Yeah.
You can't
That's-
just walk through and not know what you're doing. right?
Situational awareness is the
Yeah.
big key. Some
Yeah.
people lack it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, if we're doing a workout that's I got 15 people in the class and we're using the
No,
rig.
that's
you
a good
probably
point.
should be trying to do muscle ups
Absolutely,
or toe to bar right
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
You know, something
For
like
sure.
that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's why we
But-
made a little outdoor area to try to have some overflow.
Contend
And
with that,
yeah,
yeah.
we have the turf outside, so we do our best.
Works a little bit
But-
sometimes.
Yeah, it's up and down. We deal with it when it comes to it. But
All right, we
Sorry.
diverged. Where were
Yeah.
we?
Getting
Quarterfinals.
into semifinals.
All right, so after quarterfinals, same number of people qualify for semifinals from the different areas. That being like North America, for example, we had 4 last year. 40 went to each
Yeah.
one as individuals, and so now we have 2, and so there's 60 going to each
Mhm.
one. Is that right?
60 going to each.
60 going.
So
to
it's
each.
like split
Yeah.
down the middle,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
except for one little part of
So
around Mississippi.
Yeah, they
Okay.
didn't draw the line geographically correct, and they admit that.
Danny was all upset about
Some
that.
people got really
Furious.
amped up about that for no reason as well.
Right.
Like, hey, we've
He
got
was
a
playing.
perfectly good line of the United States. It's not about. It's
It's
not really about a geographical distribution. It's about a competitor population and like where those competitors are coming from, and trying to make sure that the 120 going to the left and the 120 are going to the right are going to be the
Mhm.
best and fairly matched.
Said so 60-60.
60-60. Yeah.
Okay.
for
How many
individuals.
and then how many go from? Here's the question that I have: how many go from each one of those?
That is the question that is not yet answered.
Undetermined.
So that's undetermined.
But there'll be like
Um,
40 at the games.
Yeah, the games is supposed to have the same number of athletes. Each area
Except-
is going to have a minimum number, which is going to come out in the rule book. Bosman said a minimum number of qualifying spots that aren't going to be adjusted down. We don't know what that number is yet. And then there's going to be a pool of remaining spots that will then go to regions or areas that they deem have a greater strength of depth in the field. And that's going to be determined by supposedly the quarterfinal leaderboard going in. So
take the quarterfinals seriously if you want to be
Yeah.
competitive in
Right.
one of the regions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cool.
yeah.
Which, in theory, does make sense.
Yeah,
It
I
makes
hope
total
they.
sense. I like it. I mean, I think that the biggest argument people are going to have, or critique people will have of this coming out is, what's the power ranking, from quarterfinals, or
Yeah.
how are we determining
Yeah.
that this particular area now gets 8 spots and mine only got 5? People are going to
Yeah.
probably have issues with that, especially if they're the 6th man in the region that didn't get
Yeah.
to go.
Mhm.
But, I think for a while, I think people miss regional days. But I don't think regionals was perfect up to the end either. We had stronger regions. We had
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
trying
definitely,
to jump
definitely.
lines
There
in
were always
regions
there's always
to,
problems, and there are
go
always going to
move
be
somewhere,
problems. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. That was an interesting part of what was, the problem with regionals is that there were certain regions that were stronger, but it didn't seem to actually matter. Like after the test was done and you ended up at the games, you kind of forgot that there were weaker regions.
What do you guys think about the super team idea? I'm curious because they've always done the affiliate cup, and that was actually
but they didn't.
what's that? There's one year they didn't, right?
Yeah, the year that
But that
Alec got and Team Krypton got second.
yeah. So there was there was just always a reason for your affiliate to go and support at the regional level.
Yeah.
Because you had a team in the fight or something, and they took a good number of teams, and a lot of gyms competed, and it was a lot of fun because you had to get 6 people.
Yeah.
Like it was 6 people, it wasn't just 4, and it's like the more people you include,
the harder it is to create a well-rounded, strong team too.
That's true, but it's also the more people you're including into these competitions, and the more support you're going to get from each affiliate. Because if that's the goal, is to get the affiliate support. Because like we've talked about before, what you are doing with the CrossFit Games is you're trying to find the fittest, but you're also placing that person above everyone else. That like when you come into a gym and when you're training, like you have to be training with a purpose. Whether the purpose is to look good naked or the purpose is to be the fittest that you can be.
Right.
If the goal should be to be the fittest that you can be, to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
I think all of the other like the looking good naked is fine, but it's a little vain, right? Like it's okay. But I think that if you come in and do it for the right reasons, you're going to go further than the person that just comes in to look good.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That is in. I don't even think it's an opinion. I think that is trackable.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that you're trying to get people to understand that idea. Then the more people you can get to these competitions from your affiliates, from all of your local affiliates, the better this competition is going to go. And it's not just like some super teams that are put together.
For sure.
Yeah. There's a reason, or there are reasons, and I don't think that they're all clear at the moment. We can speculate on why open participation has declined. Like it was at its peak in
2018, right?
No.
2019.
No,
I think
earlier.
No, I thought it was 17 or 18, right?
16 or 17. 17, I think. Was
17,
the year.
I think, was the highest year.
Down, down, and then the last couple of years, it started taking a tick back up. But last year, it matched. I think it was below even like 2017 or something.
Yeah.
So 5.
But 17 was high. It was like 400 something thousand people.
Right. So
I remember like 420,000 people or something like that.
It was a lot.
Some people argue that it took away regionals. It took away a lot of drive for people to try to get there. I go, 100,000 people didn't think they were getting to regionals. Like I didn't. People didn't stop.
They changed something.
Yeah.
Something changed, and I wasn't.
Something inside of people changed as to why do I bother signing up for the open? Because I'm not going to get to regionals. Like that wasn't my driving factor.
I think the shift was that they started focusing on the CrossFit Games became all about money.
Yeah.
And it stopped being about fitness. And it stopped being about what this is a representation of the community and the culture and the program that we run every day in a gym. And this is the pinnacle of it. It stopped being about that, and it started being about how much can I make from this CrossFit thing? This is a game now. I'm just playing this big game, and I'm not about.
I brought that up because the team aspect is one that I didn't really think about. Going from 6 to 4, you would have had a lot greater chance of participating or contributing a score when it was a 6-man squad for your open, or even going to regionals in a 6-man squad than a 4. And then also when people started making the shift to the super teams. Well, it's like now I'm out. Like there's no way I can be on a team at all.
I'm just going to collect a bunch of really good competitors and throw them on my team and not have them actually train at my gym. Like, and that's another part of it. If you don't mind, like I want to put together a team, right? That would be training here at the gym consistently. So people at the gym would see us training together, and we not only train together, but we participate in the classes.
Right.
We interact with the community. We have relationships with different people at different times of day, and we get to do the same workouts that they're doing. And there's like some sort of group camaraderie that comes around that. So then when you send them off, you're essentially sending them off into battle to try to be the fittest team on the planet, and they're representing your gym. There's something to that versus just putting together the best group of 4 that you can buy.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've always agreed with that. they've called it the affiliate cup, and it hasn't been an affiliate cup for years.
Mhm.
Like it's no longer a good
And I get-
representation of
Yeah.
the talent that's grown out of your affiliate, like it used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, and for a long time it was only open to people that had the means to do that relocating.
And I understand that, like, if you're going to compete and you're going to try to be the best at something, like, yeah, you're going to have the people that are able to, you know, put in the most money, let's say, financially, put in the most effort, time, energy, whatever it is to be on that team, to be the best. Yeah. But there was also a factor of it where it was representative of your gym.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's still, I would like that they should try to at least do that, even if it's not perfect.
Why is when I read the update, it made me think that you couldn't put together super teams.
No, you can.
What was so
You
then
had to
I-
have your-
I
you had to have
completely
your athletes
misread the
Compete in the open at your gym.
Yeah, that's the only requirement now. Before it was you had to live within 100 miles, you had to show residency, you had to show that you did 50% or plus of your workouts, training at the gym.
So
Now you literally just have to go sign up under the team, you register under, put them on the
Okay.
roster.
and then that person has to say that person lived in Nebraska.
Yeah.
They would have to fly to Chesapeake.
They could stay here for 3 weeks, or they could
They
fly
would do the workouts for 3 weeks
different
and
times.
then bounce.
Yeah, that's it.
Why does Laura have to go back to Hungary?
Residency or citizenship.
Okay.
So team kind of
That
veers.
doesn't make any. That's
Team
silly.
veers off that mark. So, for example, if Laura decided that she wanted to be a Krypton team member, she could come here just for the 3 weeks, do that, go home, come back for quarterfinals,
Okay.
meet up with the team, and that's it. So the team
Alright.
doesn't have a
Yeah.
citizenship requirement in the way that individual competitors do.
Okay.
And that's kind of always been
Yeah.
the case, really.
Yeah.
Even, you know, if you are from another country but you lived here and met that requirement of residency, you didn't have to go. How are you going to separate an individual from a team anyway?
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize that CrossFit cared about that, but that makes sense. I had not thought about that, and that's silly of me to have not thought about. But
You think they're just trying to get the most competitive teams possible?
So the way I listened to Adrian
Mhm.
on the CrossFit podcast, and it made sense to me what he's doing, and I agree with it. If we're gonna do, people always found a means, like those that had the money to get individuals to their gym, to
Mhm.
house them, to put them up, were at an advantage. So, and then there were like areas of white wishy-washiness, people trying to prove this, prove that. He's like, we tried to make it as simple as possible so that so that certain people didn't have advantages over other people, which I kind of applaud that. So that we're taking
Yeah.
away. So now you don't have to like move someone to your gym, your city, country, whatever. Live together, put them in apartments together. Now anybody can do it. Just travel, meet up, and do the workouts.
Sure.
So at least that makes it a little easier for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean,
is
it
that
makes
going to
sense.
provide the best team? Like Ben said before, it's like people that are trained together are naturally going to be better. So if you just throw together 4 people for the open, do quarterfinals together, you probably aren't going to be the best team at the game still.
I think it'll be just
But-
fine. It'll work fine. But I do think that the idea is that it should represent your gym and your community, because this is what they talk about all the
Yeah.
time. They always talk about the games are just the pinnacle of the sport. The games are just showing off what CrossFit can do
Well,
to the world.
their article they released.
It's always
says-
been that way.
Well, they claim, or the author of the article, the release claims that the Open is the pinnacle of CrossFit.
What do you, the pinnacle of the community?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, it's just semantics, right? Like,
Right. Well, they're gonna. So, like, the thought is like the pinnacle is everyone, but it's not. Like that's not actually the truth. It's just the base. It's the thing that makes the rest of it work.
the pinnacle. What do we mean by pinnacle? Define it. You know what I mean? In their terms,
Yeah.
what do you mean? What do they mean when they say that?
In
Do they
their
mean
article,
that's what they value the most? Is the participation in the open, or is it
it's essentially they were saying.
'Cause then
that's
why-
What,
The height of like the community coming together, you mean?
Sure. I mean, it's all of those things. I would need to pull it up, so we can just move on from that statement. I would have to pull it up. I don't feel like right
Man,
now.
I don't know. It's like in back in the day, and I'll say it like that because I'm an old man.
Well, it's true. It's
When-
a different era.
When people competed at the CrossFit Games, it was like everybody from the community went and flocked to the games.
Correct.
To Carson, California.
Yeah.
Because one, it was a really cool place to go. But two, like they were doing this thing that they loved doing on a daily basis at the best, highest possible level that they could possibly think about.
Ooh. I've been thinking about why we cheer for certain sports teams. So, like, I'm a New York Giants football fan.
Right. Okay. Exactly. So they're coming and flocking to these competitors, and they're cheering for a different competitor, just as if you had 6 members from your gym go to the regional.
Yeah.
You want to go to that and
Yes.
see how your gym does, even if they're not going to win. You want to see how they do because for some reason you have that attachment. Like there's an attachment from the gym level to the regional level with a team. Mm-hmm. There's also an attachment from the person that goes to the gym to the person that competes at the CrossFit Games. If they're represented in the community as a figure that somebody would look up to and want to become, want to be like, right? Because I'm going to the gym every day to try to be like the people at the CrossFit Games, whether I know that or not. Like that's maybe I'm not right now. Right? Maybe I'm not currently. Maybe right now I'm just coming in to look better naked and lose 10 pounds.
For sure.
Or whatever, 100 pounds. But at some point, if I progress on this journey, I'm speaking down the road. I'm speaking down the path that we're all walking, right? We're all walking towards this. Hey, I'm going to try to be the best version of myself. Can't really compare myself to all these other people, but I can place something up there on the shelf that I'm looking at almost like that I'm trying to become that thing or that person.
I've been thinking a lot about, because I'm always talking about Christianity. I'm always talking about like biblical references, and I've started being very aware of the fact that we have most people's qualms with Christianity was that it was this prepositional thing. I believe this, I believe that, and then they never saw anything. They're like, you believe in God, and I know I just saw you do that, and I know that that doesn't line up, and I know that I'm going to immediately call you a hypocrite, and then fill in the blank going on, right? And so there was an ancient understanding of Christianity that was like this was a practiced thing. This was a lived out thing. That's what this space is.
Like there's this journey. Everybody's on a path.
It's lived out. It's experienced. Well, what you're describing is part of the lived experience that's not directly you. It's you participating in the broader community, legitimately actually entering into a space that's bigger than yourself. Like you're going as support. Mm-hmm. And that is way more special than people realize. I.e., a local comp last Saturday, 10 teams from Krypton. How many people from the gym went to support that, this local comp? And I went
to support and I ended up competing. It was a great day.
Wait, what?
Oh, got there like 10:15 in the morning. I didn't have sleep. I had like an apple and a piece of avocado toast, and I was totally like, oh man, I'm so excited to watch. So many people were competing for the first time. We had people in every division, from RX to novice, multiple teams, and I just wanted to watch a lot of our members compete. And I show up and I plop down in the tent in my chair, and Johanna was like, do you want to do this? And I was like, no? What do you mean? And like the very first event that her and Jess did, they had the super heavy, it's like a floater event. And super heavy, those, I don't know the name.
Farmer's carry handles.
Farmer carries, the suitcase kind where you put the weight on, 140 in each hand. I don't know.
For females?
For females. Like, so 280, I don't even know how.
That's not real. For real?
It was for real.
It was very heavy.
I don't know how that translates to like a standard conventional deadlift.
Oh, because you pick it up like kind of from your knee, so it's a little higher.
It's a little higher, so it's probably
It's really challenging people, though. That's heavy.
It really did. And she felt something in her back go, and then her back was spasming like after that. And I think she's got some tears in there now, like some fibrous tears, but like she was hurting. Tough. And I was like, it was early in the day, so it's like, all right, but you're not getting 100%. You're going to get like 85%. Dang. I was like, That's here. Funny. I'll do it.
How did you do? How'd you feel?
I felt like I made it through the workouts, and that was cool because I was just like, mindset is everything, I think, or it's a lot. Yeah. When you go into something like that, if I had signed up, I would have gone to bed early. I would have eaten well. I would have been prepared. No, instead I'm just there, and I sent Kevin home, my husband home, to get my gym bag so I could have my grips and like my stuff. Yeah, so it was kind of rough, and it was like there was only 5 female RX teams. We were 5th. It's fine. The final, I was like, why is there only 5? Because it means that we're doing the final regardless. And it was just a lot of stuff that I don't normally do as well.
Yeah.
Like the final had, started with muscle ups on long straps. I don't play with them.
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
not trying to compete like at that
Yeah,
level. So
no, I
I
hear you.
stick in my zone on the
Yeah.
regular. They swing
Right.
totally different. Like
Yeah,
it
it's a
felt
different.
totally different.
it
They
is
had
different.
like a drag style rope. I was like, I don't play with this
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I was just like, this is great. This is just great. So I've been sore for days.
Yeah.
Did
I didn't know that. That's cool.
So can you answer the question sort of what I was presenting? Like, why'd you go?
I went to support my friends, our members, people that we coach all the time.
And I think when you cut that tie, like when you don't have
yeah.
that, when you don't have that link, that imaginary link or string between the individual person that comes to the gym every day
yeah.
and the competitor at the CrossFit Games on the field, or the person in the gym, the team in the
Right.
gym that's representing the gym, when you cut that, like that's at your own detriment. CrossFit, like that's a big thing. Like you have to, as a leader of a company, you have to understand that these things are big parts of it, and
Yeah.
you want to try to cultivate that community and cultivate that participation.
Right. And you're
Not just the number of people that compete in
Right.
the open, but like
And it's great because we don't encourage people necessarily to compete.
No.
We don't
No.
tell people in classes
don't
like,
have
hey, there's
to.
a competition
Inevitable
coming
that
up.
it's gonna
Everybody
happen.
should
Right.
sign up.
Yeah.
It just turned out that a lot of people just kept signing up for this competition.
It's
and
always
it was
funny
like,
to
holy
me
cow.
when somebody, like, I'll have random people in the community ask me, 'cause they know how much I care about CrossFit. They know that I go Monday through Friday, yada, yada, yada. And I'll see them out in the community, and they'll be like, hey, you're competing this weekend? I'm like, what are you talking? Huh? And they're like, yeah, it's a big local competition. I'm like, I will never, ever know when one of those is happening. Ever. I don't know why. Like I don't know. So far out of.
I was about to
like,
say the exact opposite thing that he just said.
what?
That's funny. No, I was gonna say like I think that if you lead the gym correctly,
Yeah.
people will naturally want to go test themselves and compete.
Yeah.
They
Right.
won't be like that.
Yeah.
He's
I
been
am-
doing it for a really long time, and I
Well-
think he has different priorities.
Well, this is a
and-
little bit of the thing where, like, when people ask me, I'm like, no, I did. I competed at local comps for a while.
Mhm.
Like, I started, I did it, I tried my best. I got to be a replacement on a regional team here. Like, I hit my pinnacle, I think. Like, with the amount of time and attention and effort and all of the above that I could give to this to try and be the best I could be at the sport, what I had available was a 4th alternate or something on a team 5 years ago. Like, that's cool with me. I'm like cool with that. Like, I turned down going to regionals the year Clayton got kicked by Lindsay.
so
That could've
good.
been you, man.
That would have been me because Clayton's better than me, and that would have. I just probably would have rolled over. I probably wouldn't have got back up.
I like doing local competitions with my friends, with
Yeah.
our members and people, because I find it fun.
Yeah.
And it remotivates me. Sometimes I get bored or I lose direction, I guess, or I kind of don't have
Yeah.
anything that I'm focusing on, and that sort of helps me get excited about CrossFit again.
That's a awesome point. The focus point is a really fun thought that I think's worth exploring.
But I don't like doing individual competitions. I don't care to. I don't.
What's that about?
I don't
That's
know.
another
I like
interesting
doing stuff
thing
with
we're talking
friends,
about.
and I like finding a balanced team. I'm like, I know where my weaknesses are, so when I do a competition, I'm like, who's really strong?
Yeah.
Like, go and find
Yeah.
that person. I'll do this, you do that. And I like it when the competitions are true team style,
Mhm.
and you can use your members to their strength.
I mean,
and
it's
not
more
have
fun to
like-
bike in a group of people than it is to bike by yourself.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah. I just never had the desire to like
Yeah, that's a good point.
you kind of
go,
pull each other
go it
along.
alone. Like,
Hmm.
no. Not-
Yeah,
not
very
what I mean.
rarely do I find myself in that space too.
So my thought is like, okay, if we're talking about we're on this journey, everybody's on this journey, right? And everybody started in 2000, let's say, and over the course of the first 17 years of this thing, you had all these people like super amped up, super fired up for everything. Go at it till you puke. Like
Right.
Pukey was the mascot of CrossFit, right?
Yeah, man.
Like there was a mentality there with that, what you're expected to do when you go in to do a CrossFit workout.
Right.
Now that expectation has changed slightly, and I think it may be because people have been doing this for 17 years, let's say, And it's like, yeah, we're expected to give that intensity, but we're not expected to puke and have rhabdo after the workout. Like there's different expectations. So the expectations as we've gotten older, as we've gone further down the path, we look back and on the new people that are coming up, we tell them, hey, maybe don't go so hard at this one area. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do it like we did it.
Correct.
In a sense. So like maybe there's a little bit of that going on, and then we're not getting as many new people coming in with the same mindset. So we're getting people that are coming in now halfway on the path that we've already forged forward, right? And they think that they can just do it this way when, I don't know, maybe they're missing something when, maybe the competing, like you're saying, you don't want to do it right now. Maybe the competing.
I would love to. It was weird this weekend. I saw it going on, and I was like, I should probably go compete at a local comp again.
Yeah, but I think it would be fun. But I think you also have, there's other things that you're thinking about, and you have business, family, all the other job, like everything else, right?
The reality is, I would have to sacrifice something that I probably shouldn't right now to go and do
which
that.
is a whole different story.
Yeah.
But I think encouraging people to be competitive is a good thing. And here in the gym, we encourage people to be competitive with themselves.
Well, this is a little bit of the New York Giants thing that I was talking about, the football thing I was talking about, where you almost get to take from the competitive spirit when you go and participate as a spectator cheering someone on, because the thing that you're cheering for is somebody to hit the mark, somebody to take that bow and arrow, string back with the arrow in it, aim at a target, shoot it, and hit it, and actually hit it. And that's what you're going to a competition to look at, is like an actual really good test presented, and then somebody to hit the bullseye on it, right? It naturally that happens in the way that competition unfolds, where you have a first place finisher. But sometimes you get special things like Danny lifting that sandbag this year, and people were unable to figure out why that was so special, why it was such a spectacle, all the above. What was actually it was like she took the bow and arrow, but she hit an aspirin out of the air instead of just a regular target. It was something more special.
Well, there's a game.
There's
a game inside the game, the games. There's the meta story, the big story, the big picture of the winner of the CrossFit Games, and then each event is a miniature story in and of itself.
Right.
And then things unfold throughout the weekend, so you get to watch an athlete go through this progression of ups and downs.
Right.
All relatable, all different levels of, story, right? Like you're going through these little difficult challenges on your way to the whole story at the end, the big picture. So I think people relate to that because they can watch their favorite person or athlete go through that. But if they don't have a tie to that athlete or team, like people are so fired up about their football teams or baseball teams or whatever, hockey teams. Yeah. It's like they are that person competing. Correct. They don't say this team, they say we won. We did this.
We, the Giants, are dominating right now. Like, what?
But that existed. I think that tie was cut somewhere
I've
around
never even
2017, 2018.
Well, I've always wondered, and that's because I'm in this unique spot where I have known you for a decade now, and then Alec and everybody else, and I've had people that I know to cheer for and to root for. I've never followed CrossFit where I cheered for someone I didn't know. And that to me is still a little mind, I'm like, where do people determine who they're going to attach to and cheer for?
I think they watched a lot of the content CrossFit put out, and the content that those people put out was very focused on the idea of the community and the idea of that individual's journey and the idea of the struggles that those people that person goes through, or the reality of their situation, or the genuine authenticity of that person. And I think certain people with certain personality types would cling to certain athletes.
Correct.
Just like they would do in the public space of another team or something. Like I root for the Cleveland Indians because my grandparents are from Cleveland and I used to go to the games when I was younger. That kind of thing. Like there's a relationship there. There's a tie to that, at least a little bit.
I don't know if there's a name for this aside from jumping on a bandwagon or whatever, but I think there's a phenomenon where people generally start cheering for the winningest person. So you're at the CrossFit Games or you're wherever when Froning or Fraser, whoever came out, it was the cheers were just louder. And I'm like, this many people actually like this person or attached to this person?
No, that's what I was talking about.
he's been winning for 4+ years, and like after the first year and then after the second year, and now it's like everybody just cheers for the champ, and I'm like, there's a field of a whole bunch of other guys like
Yeah, but that's some people want to cheer for the champ, some people want the champ to lose, some people want to root for the underdog, some people want to see some brand new person come out of the woodwork from nowhere. You know, like everybody wants to see something a little bit different, and I think that's an appeal of sport also.
It has the chance, like when it's practiced, like it manifests itself in so many ways that you're going to find I think the question to ask is why does the largest group find themselves rooting for the person who misses the mark the least? And I think that is an actual universal sort of understanding, sense-making statement where that's going to be your natural draw. That's the easiest. That's the easiest thing to root for. It's the easiest thing to like, and it's the easiest thing to like if you're the type of person who doesn't hit the mark very regularly. You feel like you're missing the mark in life. You feel like you're, wavering through or whatever it is. Well, you're going to attach yourself to the thing that's winning. That's interesting. And that's just what we do.
In like a hopeful sense.
And like you're going to start.
Because that's what you would like to be. Like, you're told to judge people by their fruit, right? Like
Correct.
That's something that comes of it.
It's the most obvious thing, right? But then what's special about it is it doesn't keep you from rooting for the underdog, or it doesn't prevent you from, and then you have all the examples that lay themselves out after that. But the person who misses the mark the least is the easiest to cheer for. The thing CrossFit did though was they started telling those people's stories.
Yes, exactly.
And they were selective, and that's okay because you have to be. Like there's a story unfolds that way. Like you have main characters and then you have minor characters, and everybody was a little bit like, why are these the main characters and why are those the minor characters? And
and
that's
then there's
a different conversation too. But
yes, and then you have something like, have you guys seen the movie Cars?
Yeah,
right. So like, I don't remember which one it was, but in the one
seen the movie Cars,
of course. I love those movies. I'll sit there and watch them, and Claire's like not even watching them anymore, and I'm just sitting there watching the movie.
I probably watched Sing 2.
well, that's good.
Oh, it's a good one.
5,000 times.
So there's a point in the movie where Lightning McQueen's won.
Yeah, baby.
He's won all the time, like wins all the races. And then he's getting older, and he's like, all right, doesn't know whether he should hang it up or not, but he wants to compete in this one last race.
Are you identifying as Lightning McQueen right now?
Are you
you're projecting on me right now? No. No, not at all.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that at the end, that he ended up losing that race, right? But he was also he was the crowd favorite. He was the one. I mean, it's the gladiator type idea too. It's the same thing, right? Like the people's champ. But it was not the winner that was the one that everybody wanted to be like. Like if you get a bunch of people that aren't the material that people want to watch and see, and like you're focusing as an athlete on the wrong things,
right?
Like just winning,
and
at any cost.
I believe that will play itself out.
But
that will play itself out, and it will be seen, and that is
exactly. It's inevitable that will play itself out, and
correct.
people will see it, and people will see you for who you really are,
correct.
And not who. They won't attach themselves to you in the same way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or the most charitable thing is that it won't take you as far as the other method would, or the other way would. It will come up, it will just come up short.
Because there's a better way to be than not.
Yes.
Because there is a more appropriate way to be. I think this is inherent. People know this. They just don't think about it.
Yes.
And they follow certain athletes, and they'll say this person's the best versus this person's just because of they think so. But they've never really considered as there's actually a better way to be and act in the world than not.
Right.
It's where like the rules come from, like rules for life kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's wisdom if you go looking for it.
Agreed. I've been loving the programming this week. Have you done the class workouts this week, George?
Well, like I said, I was super sore at the beginning of the week, so not early on. I did last night's, And then I quickly realized I need to do more unilateral leg work because my left leg is way weaker than my right leg, and those step-ups got me. Did I do the day before? I think I did the day before, too. I didn't do...
I was telling Ben when I walked in, I was like, hey, man, I don't know what's going on other than the fact that competition's coming up and people are training for it. So whatever you've been thinking, whatever's been in your head that's manifested itself onto the whiteboard last week, that's made its way to us this week, is like top tier, creme de la creme. Like, I mean, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was like, just left the gym being like, this is it. Like, this is this CrossFit thing that I fell in love with. And I'm especially thinking a lot about Pierre and his 2 sons that are coming now, because they are involved with Young Life or involved with Wildlife. And I've seen him each week or each day, and I've been like, do not play games with this workout. Like, don't think that this isn't going to steal your lunch money, because it is, and you're going to love it. Like, you're going to love being bullied by this workout, which is weird.
Yesterday was the 15 minutes, every 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many, like, I overemphasized down in your weight for this workout. These need to be unbroken. These touch and go. And people were like, oh, this, and like immediately we're changing weights. And I was just like,
it was the right advice.
Yeah.
Whew.
That was a doozy.
Yeah, and all these workouts that I'm programming, I would love telling people about this, but like I program with the best athletes in mind to try to make the best athletes better. And it's like, if you program to make the best athletes better, all of the other athletes are not only going to become better at a faster rate, but they're going to have a goal to shoot for, and and even the best athletes are going to be checked when they think that they're better than everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, it's
the best.
It's perfect. It's the best way to run the gym. It's not, don't program for all of your athletes, because don't ever not program muscle ups because nobody can do muscle ups. Program muscle ups.
100%.
Expect more of your athletes, and they will do it. You'll be surprised. Like, and they'll love it. They'll love you for it. Like, it's not like they want that challenge. That's what they're coming to a CrossFit gym for. Don't water down your programming.
Yeah, and that was the beginning. Like, when you started this, you got done with your workout being like, what did I just do, and why was that so hard? And I usually don't like doing things this hard. However, I'm excited that I just did this. And that was new for me as a person, because technically I was almost always better at everyone I played a sport against, just hand-eye coordination wise. Like, I could shoot a basketball at age 2, right? But at age 12, I didn't have a work ethic, and I was just, I wouldn't go condition, right? So you can't miss both. Like, I was not about the hard work part of becoming a good athlete. Like, I got tricked into thinking that, like, some type of, skill set or whatever it was going to be enough. And then CrossFit happened, and I went, wait, man, this is how much sweeter would it have been to be really good at shooting a basketball if I could also run up and down the court at will, no matter what, and do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. That would have been so sweet. And that's exactly what this did to me, mentally, where it was like, man, you can push yourself to places you really didn't think you could, I guess.
No. Yeah, agreed.
And this week has been spot on. Like, I got up this morning and was like, woo, I love this. Like, absolutely love this feeling. And part of that goes with, I know I can give it away. Like, I know I'm actually inviting someone into, like, a really fun, cool adventure too by doing this. Like, it's not weak.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you said adventure, right? Like, that's what it is too. I went to the YMCA yesterday. I texted you guys this yesterday.
Yeah.
I went to the Y yesterday to use the adductor,
abductor
machine.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause my hip's been bugging me, and I got in there and I was like looking around, and it was like, it's just, I don't know how people do that. Like, I don't know. People don't even know what's on the. Like, people say the grass is greener on the other side. Right. People don't even look in that direction to see that the grass is greener. I'm like, this is crazy that people just, okay. They'll come in. Everybody had their headphones on. Everybody's, just looking at themselves in the mirror while they're doing their bicep curls and their machines. And it's like, you guys don't even know what's out there. Like, they're never adventured. They don't. And once you take that step out, it's like, that's what CrossFit gives you. It's just adventure. Here's this journey. Here's what you could be. Here's where you could, here's here's the challenge. And then as you conquer these challenges, you not only gain confidence, but you gain fitness. You look better. You're healthier. You solve all of these problems that with one thing that you didn't know that you could even solve. You know, like, and it'll do all of that and more. Like, there's the community. You'll build friends. You'll meet people. Like, it's just like everything all in one. I don't know. It's so good. I'm preaching it, but like,
no,
that's the truth.
I did a
go on the adventure,
personal
like
trainer stint fitness thing way back before CrossFit. So boring. It was just so boring. And then recently when we went to when we were watching one of the semifinals in Tennessee, went to like a big, not Globo gym style, but like weightlifting gym style or just whatever. And I was just lost. I was just like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing in here. Like, what machine do I want to do? And like, I had no focus, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. It's really hard to have a focus. And when you walk into the CrossFit gym, it's like, here's the challenge for the day.
Yeah.
You call the workout of the day, challenge of the day.
Yep.
Workout, whatever, task,
like that.
However you want to
Do
think
as many
about
rounds, do it as fast as you can, go as heavy as you can, whatever the goal is that day. Like, that's easy for me to follow those kind of that kind of setup.
What you got? I know you're thinking of something.
No.
People are just missing out when they don't know.
But how do you get more people to know?
It's a little bit of sort of what I was talking about with the local competition. Like, I mean, I don't know that they're going on because I haven't tried to go and find it. Like, I don't follow anything that's going to let me know that.
I'd argue that you have your competitions through the year. Like, you do the open, you do the semifinals. Like, we make you for the quarterfinals. Like, you could say that that's your local competition.
Well, and that's what I do.
Your local competition.
That's what I actually do say to people too.
Right.
But the point being, I mean, here you go. I think those people at the YMCA don't know because you didn't tell them.
I used to love going into the global gyms at YMCA and just doing a CrossFit workout. Yeah. And just everybody's like, what the heck are you doing? But you're like, you do it because you know exactly what you're doing, and you're not getting in anybody's way or whatever.
Right.
But you're doing something different, and people see it, and I talk about it. I used to drag people into workouts at school and college all the time. Right. And it was fun. But very few stuck around. But when they stuck around, they became friends, and then we did this workout every day, and it was like, or something different every day. And then some people I still talk to, from college, just because I met them. I was doing a workout at a Globo gym or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like,
it's
right.
just
I didn't invite them. Let's say I did my 3 sets of 20 and I pieced out.
All the time, right?
And all the time.
To the gym.
All the time, and that's why I started the gym.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I made the gym. This is my place. I invite you, anybody who wants to come try it out. Try it out.
And that's what I say about Young Life. Everybody's like, hey, how do you do make a successful ministry, whatever it is? And my answer always is I ask people to come and see. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, what am I showing up to? And I say, it's really, really hard for me to describe. But I think you'll enjoy it. And I'd love for you to come and see, but I can't make you. And even if I tried to describe it to you, you'd still have plenty of questions and still say, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So
just come and try it.
Just come and see.
Do you think we've stalled as a CrossFit community in the U.S. or in this area because we've stuck to our own mostly? Do you know what I mean? Like sticks with like, and now we're not reaching out more. Like
to who? Reaching out to who?
People outside of our bubble.
That's
so like when CrossFit first started, the numbers were so small. It was almost like you had to talk to other people and had to bring other people into your realm because you didn't have all the like a 300 person membership. And people just coming to you like.
So we're not sending out enough disciples into the world.
I guess in general, like CrossFit kept growing in the U.S. It was exploding, and then it kind of plateaued.
What if we bought like 50 YMCA memberships for our gym members here and just said, "Hey, we're going to the YMCA today," and we all just went to the Y and did CrossFit at the Y? It's actually not a bad idea.
No, it's a really good idea. If you're gonna go the business route, it's the best route.
That's what I mean. Like you just
Yeah. There's also Like, take Danny
Beeler.
Beeler's story, and it's like, how did he end up here? Like, why here specifically? Like, so you have those stories where somebody might not show up and say, like, I had a kid show up to Young Life yesterday, and I was like, how did you hear about this? You know, and he was like, I actually just kind of saw you guys as I was walking by, and so I stopped, and I was like, dope, that's great. You're gonna have all of it. However, we had 30 kids show up yesterday. 25 of them I said, come and see. Who knows if they come back next week? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
But-
you know that's what Glassman said in the beginning, right? Like when people asked him what CrossFit was, he was like, "Show up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and I'll show you." Like that was his answer. Like he's very clear about that.
Yeah, and there is something about that's, it's like it's truer than true because it can, like that statement is like that's a fact, so it's true, happened. But how many more times did that happen? And I would argue that it's always happening. That the reason CrossFit can't stop is because eventually you just end up saying, "Come and see." Like Danny's gonna tell people, they're like, "Bro, what is changing about you?" And it's like, "Well, I'm doing this thing, yada 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 yada." And it's like, "What?" And it's like, "Hey, just come show up with me, and find out." That's back to Pierre and his sons. It's like they found CrossFit, and then it's like, "Hey, why don't you show up? Like, actually come to the gym and see instead of doing this." You know, and you can do this at your house, in your garage, with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
could
they're
also
great, but
experience
his
this.
Sons, Scotty and Brandon, are like super motivated. Like,
World class.
Yeah.
they're-
World class.
They're in it. And how old are they? Aaron?
8th grade, 9th grade.
It's like 12, 13,
12 or 13, 14.
13, 14. Okay.
Yeah, they know everything about CrossFit too.
They
Like,
do.
I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're really into it. They're sometimes, a little extra energy to coach and reel in when they're together in a
absolutely,
class.
yeah.
They're like, calm down.
Yeah.
Let's focus on what we're doing here.
I'd rather do that than have to try to like.
Yeah, absolutely. But they want to go 0 to 60 like now. They're like, how do I get this? And I'm like, okay, can you do this and this and this? Oh, all right. Well,
Man,
work
all
on
right,
that.
That's the job of a coach.
Oh my
I know.
goodness.
Yeah, that's the job of a coach.
I want to talk about that for forever.
Mm-hmm.
The progression into accomplishment is such a fun sort of adventure to go on too. Like, I want to get a muscle up, and it's like, you can't do a pull up.
Yeah.
Like,
That was
come
my
on
first
now.
question. So that
Like,
was
let's
that.
start.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
they were
like,
asking. They were
but-
like,
But I love the enthusiasm, and
yeah.
I don't ever want to temper that.
But
right?
why is it not I want to do a pull up? That's why I'm so intrigued by this, is because it's actually this like that's muscle up is the pin, like it really is the mountaintop.
Which
Like
is
nobody walks in and is like, "Hey man, I really hope I do a push up in the next couple
But
years."
if you really, really want to get to the top of that mountain,
Yeah.
you're going to understand that you're going to have to prepare. Or you're going to try a couple times and you're going to fail.
right,
And then you'll be like, all right, what'd I do wrong? And
or
then
you
that's
can get
where
it
we...
once or twice, but you're not going to be able to do it repeatedly.
Yeah, and then that's where we talk about this journey, right? That's where we talk about the path. And that everybody's walking that. And it's like the person that understands that that's what it's about, walking through, right? It's not only just about the end, but it's about both the journey, the getting there, the preparation, the discipline, the small daily actions that lead you towards your goal. And that's what the coach is supposed to do. The coach is supposed to show you that. And they're not supposed to just tell you that. They're supposed to lead by example.
right.
Your coach has to lead by example, and that's what they should do at a CrossFit gym. If you don't have a coach that's not leading by example, you should probably tell them that they need to, or find somebody else.
Correct. You need. Here you go. I can wrap up at least my thought in regards to the new season, the adjustments, whatever. There is a journey in which the open, quarterfinals, semifinals, and the games takes you on yearly. That is special and necessary. And that is also a picture or microcosm of what you're doing at the gym daily. It's everything we just described. It can all be boiled down. It can either be explained as the game season, It can be explained as your journey to get a muscle up. It can be explained on your weight loss journey. It can be explained as your look good naked journey. They are all somehow able to be described in sort of the same pattern, but manifesting itself in all of these different things, which makes for this beautiful mosaic for all of the different people that show up at this space.
Yes, and if they're like fractals of one another, and if you look at one of them and you say, this is it, you're wrong.
You're right. You're missing
Or
it.
if you look at one of them and say, that's not valuable, you're wrong.
Correct.
You have to understand that all of these pieces come together and make one big picture, like you just said.
Right.
Like the individual notes on a piano aren't the thing that's special, but the way that they come together is the thing that's special. And the person that can see that is the one that can write good music and all of that, right? But like people are on that journey, I think, to see this. Like that's a fractal of life in general.
Right.
Like people are all on this journey, and if I look at one person from one place and say that is this or that is that, like you're automatically wrong. You're out. Like you don't.
Right.
People can't see the world that way.
Right.
But the CrossFit's that way. You can see CrossFit that way. So expand your mind a little bit, and I think you can see outside of that. Nutrition's that way.
And this is so, I'm bringing up the video that naturally is coming to my head last night that you saw that was like popped up on YouTube and was like, CrossFit is dead. It's dying. And what some of the things that those guys were pointing out, none of this was in there.
Right.
Was in their view. And they
I
even
missed it.
referred to the games as like a shock and awe segment. And that's never what the games has been in my eyes.
No.
For me, it's always been
No, it's not a
the
circus. Shock and
pinnacle-
awe is circus, and
yeah,
the games is not a
game should
circus.
It was always the pinnacle, the capabilities of the human body and what it can do. So to me, there's never going to be a stop to that. It's just going to be a transference. They got to like, oh, now everybody lifts the same weight, so it's done. Like we're going to hit the ceiling.
They
and
were
that's it.
unable to see that you can expand into this whole other realm
so
that's over
many
here.
Other areas.
Right.
So it
Well,
was just like
Because they don't
I have a
understand.
metaphor for
They don't
you if
understand
you'd like.
CrossFit. I would like to hear it.
We use the mountain and we use the pinnacle as an idea, and the easiest thing for us to do is to go outwards at the base of the mountain and think we're expanding our view. So you're right, but you're still on the same plane, and the further you go out on the same plane is the further you reach into the margin. And what it sounds like you're describing they did is they went to like the edge of the margin of the wrong thing of the games, right, at the base of the mountain, instead of going to the pinnacle, and you're actually able to see more.
Or they went a
From the
quarter of the
top.
way up and they said this is the peak.
yeah, and that's it. And they didn't see how it could. keep
Right.
going
Right.
or-
Because if you're going to go to the margins, you're going to find the weirdest things out there at the margin instead of the thing at the top that should be held up. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it sounds like that's what the video was. I'm glad you guys told me I didn't need to watch it.
Yeah, you know you didn't. But that's when you say somebody's short-sighted.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying when you say they're short-sighted.
Right. Right.
It's not that their view's wrong. It's just that their view isn't completely inclusive of the truth, all of the truth, nothing but the truth.
Right.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and then that's okay with me. That's why I like doing this as much. My wife was making fun of me last night. We sat down. To watch Bachelor in Paradise. It's Bachelor in Paradise season. And
I don't
Sorry, I
watch
threw
any
up a
of
little
those
bit in my
shows.
mouth.
and so anyways, we get to, it's like 10:30 last night. I'm like, hey, I think it's time to go to sleep. She's like, what are you talking about? We got so much. I mean, she's in a hole, like a dark, like just zoned in. Like, oh, it's so good right now. I'm like, I get it. Like,
Right.
cool. Like, are you sure you want to stay up to watch this though? And then eventually was like, nah, yeah, let's go to bed. The clap back sort of like she gave me though when I was like, are you sure what it is? She was like, well, I had to pull you away from talking to Rich at the coffee shop for 5 hours today. And I was like, I know, I really like doing that. Like, I could do that all day. I could legitimately sit down and just converse, like, and about whatever, right? Like, he asked me a question about how his company could get me to open the emails they send me. That's his company's whole goal now is to figure out how to get you to actually open the email. And I talked for 3 hours about it, and she made fun of me last night about it. So, anyways, that was a long way to say I love doing this, and I hope other people get to do this, even if you don't like talking that much, or you haven't done this. I would argue to say
I don't like talking that much.
Yeah, I would argue.
But there's something that comes from what we do when
Yeah.
we sit down and we dialogue. I
Yeah.
learned what the word dialogue actually meant the other day, right? Dialogos type thing.
Yeah.
Like it's literally what you're doing is manifesting something outside of you. When you have a conversation, you go back and forth and you expand on each other's viewpoints without judging the other person or something like that, right? So I think that there's a lot of good that comes from that, and I think that that's what we might be missing a lot of, because we're just always here and we're never
or headphones
in dialogue.
at the gym.
Yeah, whatever, or not
yourself.
paying attention at the YMCA or something
not
like
paying-
that.
right.
Yeah. But I think something really good comes from it, and that's why we like doing it, and that's why this is so good, and that's why I wanted to share what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like whether or not people get something from it or not, I can't control that, but we can just sit down and have our conversation about the things that we're passionate about,
For sure.
and the things that we're actually doing in the world, not just talking. Like we
For
don't
sure.
just talk about this. Like this is what we're living out. We try to live out every day.
And that's what I mean. This is not just a preposition, right? This is not a self-help, preposition that we don't actually participate in, though. Like, this is actually practiced. So,
And it's not like a quick fix thing that I'm trying to solve this problem that I'm having this huge, midlife crisis about. Like, I want to walk on this journey. Like, this is what I'm trying to go towards, and then trying to share that with other people,
right.
with the gym.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I opened it.
A 10-year affiliate now. You've
Yeah, we're coming up
successfully-
on our 10th year
successfully
this
done
year.
that, I would
Oh,
say.
smoke.
I was going to
smokes,
mention
I
that,
forgot about
but
that.
yeah. December 3rd is our 10th year. Yeah, we got T-shirts
Let's
and
go.
sweatshirts.
December
looks
3rd is
comfy.
I was gonna
December
ask,
3rd
that's
is our party
Do you
thing
know the actual date? Like, what's our birthday?
around that time.
Around that time.
Yeah.
I missed it by I think I joined around right after the open in 2013. So I think you've probably been open about 5 or 6 months from when I transitioned this way.
Yeah, we have we have a page now. So my mom went through the Zen Planner. We have 10-year members, 9-year
Well, your dad
members,
accidentally
8-year members,
deleted me
7-year
from
members.
Zen Planner, so they don't
Oh,
know when
okay.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too, bro.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah.
I thought it was really cool that we have people that have been here for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like a page full of people that
I have been here for 10
years.
years. Let the record show. I don't need anything else. I don't need my name on the list. I just let the record show.
I can't believe
Here.
you've been here for 10 years.
Yeah.
I feel old.
It's gone by quick.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun. So that's what they say, huh?
No, it's wild. I just wanted to start talking about working out again. Like, just the progression of walking in and seeing, like, of just observing your programming, right? Where, like, sometimes I have such a, like, idea of what is about to be on the board. It's creepy when I walk and I'm like, I knew that was about to be. I knew you were going to be there. Are you stupid? But then, like, also, like, thinking about, like, classic workouts. Like that stupid row burpee workout. That's like your classic go-to. No, it's a
500
500
25
row.
burpees, 2 rounds.
Yeah.
The main site. I don't know. I
It's-
stick with the basic stuff. It's
That
elegant.
workout
It's really
is
fun. I like doing it. You
nasty.
can race. Yeah.
Nasty.
It's good though.
And it's so elementary now of a workout. Like, people be like, what? Huh? No, that can't be it. So I'm trying it.
I like doing that with programming too, like switching it up on people, like where they really get into one groove. Maybe it's something we can talk about again, but like just getting into one groove and doing one thing and then just completely switching it up. And everybody's like, what? Why do you do that? And I'm like, because you got to stay on your toes. Like I can't let you get complacent.
Routine is the enemy.
This is the last thing I say, and I've realized that I've drank a lot of caffeine and I want to talk right now, but I need to.
Well, we should just do this again
Yeah.
rather than waiting 4 weeks before we do our next one.
Let's do it again. The last thing that I'm going to say is the most recent nutrition thought that I've had is trying to invite people, come and see. It's like everyone around me has some type of like hey, I want to get healthier. Usually when they talk to me, I don't know if this happens to you or anyone watching or whatever, but like if you're living a healthy lifestyle or you're doing something like that and people notice, they usually ask you about sort of like the best part of yourself or the healthiest part of yourself. Where I have a lot of people ask me like nutritionally, like, hey, how do I get in shape or how do I lose weight or for whatever the reason is. And I've been thinking about this mainly. I want to just help people realize all they need to drink is water.
That's a good point.
Like, and because
Very
I
simple.
have an old Young Life guy that keeps reaching out to me about nutrition. And I started for like maybe like 3 years ago where I was like, hey, these are like just the base things that like, hey, you should eat this, don't eat this. And I'm convinced the first 100 pounds that comes off of him is just from him just drinking water.
It could easily be if he's in a habit of drinking his calories and everything. So
Yeah.
And but
sugar
my
load,
hypothesis
I
is
even think
most people's are just drinking their calories. Like I'm really, really convinced that that's the thing that's most hidden.
Sometimes
from
it's not even
everyone.
the calories too. It's like the combination of the
What
the drink plus
yes.
the whatever.
Right. And like for instance, anyways, I digress. I'm thinking about starting some type of like, the 30-day pull-up challenge where it's like 30-day water challenge. It's going to be really difficult.
So
People are going to be like, what about what about
I'm
this
writing
or
a
that,
little
and coffee or
I'm
whatever?
writing a little ebook right now.
Yeah.
And it's 30-day. It's a 30-day. I've never done anything. This is where I'm going to start.
Dope.
Book. And
That's-
so I've been working on it. I worked on it I worked on a while last year and then just dropped it and never finished it. And I'm just picked it back up and I'm like, dang, this is actually pretty good. Let me try to see if I
Yeah.
can keep this going. It's a little like, you have to remember like this is very like bare bones basic. I've never done anything. Let me start. So something like that. And that's actually one of the first 5 days are first thing in the morning, 8 to 16 ounces of water.
And it's just drink water.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, that's it? And I'm like, that statement right there lets me know you're not even capable of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You don't even know how hard you can't conceptualize how hard it is to just drink water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me give you the smallest basic task. If you can be, if you can be competent with this little thing, I can give you a little bit more.
Right. It's like, hey, we want to do muscle up snatches and heavy yoke carries today. And it's like, no, you're going to row 500 meters and do 25 burpees twice.
And I love
And
doing that to the
understand-
class.
Right.
I
and
love doing that to the
understand
class.
That's
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. And reminding people every day, like I talk to people most during the warm up and like talk to people, like coach people most during the warm ups. And it's always like, they don't know what to say because they are not ready for like, they're like, what, why are you talking to me about my air squat right now? Let me just squat. And I'm like, no, this is where you get better. I'm trying to help you snatch heavier your PR or whatever by just squatting better in the warm ups. And people don't get it. It's funny. But
And
I'm
that's when you
gonna
have
still
their
try
ear,
to
too,
do it.
because they're not in the middle of trying to go as fast as they can.
Yeah.
When you can't really correct some stuff.
Yeah, that's something I try to
mid-workout.
talk to with the coach. It's like really focus on warm ups and how you move, and quality movement will take you a long way. These are topics we can continue to talk about. But if you guys have other topics you want to hear us talk about, please leave them, because if we don't have topics, we won't do podcasts. So we want to do
For sure.
podcasts. I'd like to do podcasts.
That's actually a really good thing to say. I have realized that it's hard for us to podcast
because we don't have a topic.
We're not going to come. We're not just making, we're not doing content based on current events.
I don't like
that's
doing
tough.
content based off.
This
current
is a
events.
current event, but this
Yeah.
happened like 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And it's really hard to do that, and we're not trying to be that voice in this space. There are other people doing that. And
Yeah,
that,
honestly,
and
I
I'm
don't-
thankful that they do that. Like, honestly, I'm very thankful that they do that, because this space needs that. We have just decided not to do that. So if there's, you
I don't
leave
care
a
about
comment,
this.
comment about right.
Like,
Right.
I don't know why. I just don't
Exactly.
care about it. I care about this other stuff that we're talking about,
Right.
because I think this is actually what matters, and I think that it's not what's talked about.
Right, that's our
People
space.
don't discuss it, but I think it's really good to talk about. I think people will enjoy it if they listen.
Yeah. But
Kinda like
tying
CrossFit.
it into stuff like this makes
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We'll
get those people to click on
getting
it.
People like what drives people in here. Before it used to be like some people was seeing CrossFit a snippet on ESPN.
Yeah.
And that's what got them in here. And then, like you said, other ways it's just come check it out as like word of mouth or telling people. So I do spend a lot of time usually the first 5 minutes or so, anytime I'm in an intro, and we have like anywhere from 4 to 5 intros a week right now. Anytime I'm in an intro, that's my first, a day one intro is my first thing is, what brought you in here?
Mhm.
Where'd you come from? Have you done CrossFit at all before in the past? Have you heard,
Yeah.
you know, like what's your knowledge of CrossFit? Like I try to get a real grasp on where people came from, and then what do you want to do with it? Like what is your goal here? You know, especially if they're, depending on, you know, like they're trying to get back in shape or something like that.
It's exactly what I asked them.
Sometimes I'm too real. I may be too real with people sometimes, you know, they're like, oh, I want to get in shape or I want to lose weight. And I pause and I'm like, all right, I'm being as sincere as I can here because this is what took me the longest time when I started CrossFit to realize, because that was my goal with it too. I wanted to get in shape. I wanted to lose weight. I wasn't necessarily expecting the whole community aspect of it to sort of hit me and stuff like that, but it was, I committed to it and nothing changed because I didn't change the diet. The foundation part was never hit upon for me early on in my first like year of CrossFit. So it took like 2 years before like I even like got there. And so that's why I tell people like, you're in here 1 hour out of 24 in a day. What you do in the rest of that time is going to have a greater impact on your goal than what we do here. Don't get me wrong, you'll get fitter, you'll move better, you'll get stronger likely. But if the weight loss is the main goal, you've got to focus on what you're eating on a day-to-day basis. And I try to like impress upon people that, because I don't want people to come in and get real discouraged 6 months down the road when like, I've been here 5 days a week, 6 months, and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Well, what have you changed besides that? And you know, they're usually like, I don't think about that. And I think sometimes that makes them not come back.
Yeah.
But they don't like, you know, they're not ready to make that change. They thought, oh, I could just show up to the gym and it'll just start happening. That's a good step, but.
And that might be how it starts. You know what I mean? Like, it's the hard part about, like, you can't motivate you can't be you want people that are self-motivated. Like, you can't constantly drive somebody.
Right.
You just can't do it. Like, you can't control what the other person's going to feel or think, but you can be the best example that you can be, and then that other person might then reach out, like, go looking for it and ask you, you know? So that's what we try to do here. But yeah,
man, it's
a long journey. It's a big journey, and take it. It's an adventure.
Wait.
It's an adventure. It's a journey.
Right. Adventures and journey. Should it end? Should you arrive?
No. It's just going to change over the years. Like,
Well, you might arrive and then you realize that there's another journey that you're on that's bigger than the meta journey.
Right. That seems to be the case.
Yeah. It's a conception.
You're like, wait, I'm here. Oh no, I'm not here.
That's what I did with the CrossFit Games. Yeah.
We gotta stop. We're just gonna
All right.
keep going.
Another conversation. Please leave comments, because if you leave comments again, we will talk about them. Otherwise, we probably won't see you for another few weeks.
Yeah, that's right. All
We'd
right,
like
see
to
you
do it
next
again.
year,
I'll find
everybody.
some
Love
guys.
you.
Yep.
Yep. Bye.